Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of my Kingdom Come Kid Flash custom statue made from the Sideshow Spider-Woman premium format. So got some cool updates and she's working out pretty cool, so check them out. Okay, a little update on Kid Flash. Basically what I did was I took some Aves and I put up the piece around her shoulder pad, so it's kind of gives it an idea of a little more of a jacket with lines and stuff. I have to kind of sand it down still, but it gives you an idea of trying to match up the jacket the way they have it in the comic. So as you can see, she got it's kind of like a shoulder pad type thing going across with a little bit line work going here, and I try to give it a little bit of a line work going into this line here, so it's kind of like sewn in pieces. So it worked out pretty cool. I like the way it's going. It's kind of almost like a big shoulder paddy type jacket type thing. Just got to sand it down, smooth it up, fine tune it a little bit more, and that's ready to go with that. And I'm pretty much happy with how that came out. So pretty much got the jacket almost done. Once we get the arms on, we'll work on all the cuffs. But what I did was for the booties, let's see, we get in there a little bit, I added on a bolt here. I have to sand it down and stuff, but kind of try to give my bolt now there was a couple ways they did the bolts, and after testing it a bunch of times, as you can see, I pulled off a lot of the primer. I came up with the idea I like the bolt like that. I think it works pretty good low to the heel and comes out pretty cool. But the problem with this one is because her ankle's up, I kind of had to turn the bolt a little bit. Now it's not at a point because I have to, what I figured was, let me put the bolt here and then I'll let it attach to the tip to this cuff, so this way it's kind of secured, but I have to sand this down yet and everything, so that's not really there yet, but it gives me the idea of how I'm going to work it. Now I use Magic Sculpt on these because Magic Sculpt's really tougher than Aves, because Aves will probably snap with something that thin, but Magic Sculpt has a little bit more, you know, toughness to it, so I ran with that. But that's where I'm at with Kid Flash now. Hopefully you guys like the way it's working, getting there a little bit closer. So once we fine tune up these areas now, I can start working on the arms, and then I think I'm going to leave the base as is. I might just paint it like flat black, but I haven't figured that out yet. As I work on it more, I'll see. Maybe I will add some to the base, maybe I won't. But that's where she's at now, and hopefully you guys like the turnout. We'll be back. Alright, we got some updates on Kid Flash. So basically, I primed it all up, I sanded it down, got some more sanding to do, but I just kind of wanted to get an idea where I'm at. Worked out some stretchy marks here, and I think it's working out pretty good. I think the jacket with the shoulder pad thing is really cool. It gives it like that, you know, really pointy jacket that's kind of like a broad shoulders thing. A little bit stylish. The stretch marks from the original Wonder Woman sculpt work out pretty good with it. So it came out pretty cool, and as you can see, I worked out the line work on the jacket. See how close we can get. So it works. And then what I did was I worked out the boot bolts too. I sanded this one down a little bit, got some of the point a little bit, fine-tuned it a little bit more, and I did the same thing with this one. I might have to sand a little bit more, but I didn't want to push my luck with it just yet. So the next step now is getting the hands in. So basically, when I put this hand in here, I'm trying to figure out, do I want to attach the hand first and then work out the cuff and work out the cuff around her elbow, or do I want to attach it here, you know, maybe work out the glove and the cuff on the here first and then attach it and do. So I'm kind of at a little bit of a stump, but it's kind of, I got to figure out what I want to do because it's a little bit iffy of how I want to attach it and go about it, because I really don't want to handle her too much because I could snap pieces of the hair or the bolts, so I don't know yet. So that's where I'm at. We'll come back more with some more updates. Alright guys, small update on the Kid Flash hand. So basically, one night I was working on some stuff and I had some extra Aves. So it was starting to harden up, so I rolled it out and then I wrapped it around each hand and I kind of did the points on each one. Now they weren't completely perfect at the time and I let them sit overnight. So the next day I used some Magic Sculpt and I filled out some areas and I sanded it down. So I just kind of wanted to show you exactly what it looks like, you know, before I actually start priming it up. It's really messy and it looks all horrible, but that's pretty much where I'm at with them. So what I'm going to do is I'll prime them up, I'll make sure I get some areas fixed up, and then what I might do is I might do some little bit of a line work going across like it's kind of sewn around the edge. So I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do with that yet. But basically what I did was I have these big metal rods that have screws at the end. I think I got these from some kind of shelving or something I had, so I kept them, and it works out pretty good because you could kind of twist them into the hand and it tightens it so you could work it like this. So got to sand up some more of the areas around here, fix this up, prime it up, and then when I go from there, I'll start getting ready to attach it onto the statue, work out the cuffs, and then after that kind of fine tune her up, and she'd be almost ready to go for paint. So this is kind of like the last couple steps, and I just want to show you exactly where I'm at now. So we'll be back. Okay guys, so we're back, and I got the hands onto the statue, and I'm liking it. Everything's looking good. Of course, now that I designed her this way, which I should have in the beginning, but as you know, I work on every project. I learn from my mistakes and what I should do. I should have designed it where the hands actually get magnetized or pinned in at the end, but this is just the way I did it, so it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'll still be able to work around it. Just got to take my time painting her up. So what I like to do is, as I'm at this point, I'm ready to start painting her up. I like to do a coat of the Garage Kit skin tones on any of the skin that's showing, because I sometimes miss stuff even though the primer's there. And especially with skin tone, there's nothing sucks more when you start painting her up in skin tones and all of a sudden you see some divot or a little mark or a scratch and it doesn't look right. And I like to have everything smooth, so do a coat of Garage Kit Flesh. And then what I like to do is, once I do that, I look around areas like I sculpted the hair around up in there and there. Sometimes when I do sculpting like that, I leave a residue of the age because of with the safety solvent, so there might be some like gradient or mush up there. I'm going to sand that down, and then I can go back and start painting her up. So that's just kind of like a little thing here and there. And then I did the belt buckle, as you can see. I got to prime that up still, but I just wanted to make sure, you know, I got everything going. I didn't miss anything. I also had before I did break the bolt, this one here. So what I had to do was I had to put a pin in there and then redo it. So I got to still prime that up, see if I need to clean that up as well. But that's where I'm at. So the next step is working out the face. Now, because her face is pretty much not, you know, really there, and you don't have to see a lot with, you know, like eyeshadow and all that. It's pretty much going to be a straightforward skin tone paint up face with a little bit of blush on the cheeks, and then really focus on the lips, because the lips are going to be the most important thing for that, since most of it's hidden. So I'll start fine tuning her up. We'll come back and we'll start hitting her up with the paint. Okay guys, so at this point now I got her all fine tuned up and I'm starting to paint her up. Now, even though we have just a small area of skin tone, you don't want to just spray paint it, you know, one solid color and that's it. So I'm actually trying to get a lot of shadows underneath the chin, under the nose, and I'm building it all up and just kind of going with it. And any extra paint, at least the dark paints, I spray up the hair. I always like to have a base coat of skin color on the hair, no matter what color it is. It just kind of helps it down the line. And that's what I'm running with. So as you can see, I'm using all Garage Kit colors. So I got my transparent pale flash, Garage Kit, flash, bronze, good semi-transparent, and just running with all these Garage Kit colors on the face. So I'm not actually done yet, still getting there, but you can kind of see at least there's some kind of shadowing on there. So just running with it, and we'll keep going. We'll come back once we start getting some more done. Alright guys, so I started working on some red paint on the body, and I used up a mixture of paint I had for Jessica Rabbit Premium Format into a Wonder Woman. It's got some like Alclad Chrome mixed into it, and I don't like the way it's looking. It's too pinkish, and it's giving me a mirror look I'm not really too fond of. Even though I was going to mix in some deeper reds and blacks to give her that look, I don't think I'm going to go this route. I'm going to go a different route with more, you know, kind of like you know, spandex type look for her. I don't want to go too crazy with her outfit. So as I'm working on it, I realized I did something wrong. I'm missing something. So I'm looking at her arms and I'm like, what's wrong with her arms? Why am I not seeing something? And then I realized I'm looking at the comic and I completely forgot about the cuffs and the wrinkles to the jacket. I was like, oh man. I was like, of course. You know, what happened was, this is a personal project, so as I'm working on it, one day I was like doing skin tones on a bunch of projects. I was like, yeah, I'll throw her skin tones in with the mix, and sure enough, I realized that she wasn't finished ready for paint. And it's just what happens when I do my personal projects. That's why I like to, you know, set aside Sunday every once in a while just for myself to do my own stuff, just to kind of clear my head and not get pressured with a lot of other stuff. It just kind of like helps me keep working, but of course this is what happened. So I'm gonna have to mask off the head, sculpt in the stuff probably when I get a chance, and then get back to work on her and match up the skins and go there. But you know, that's what happens. Not perfect, make mistakes, but it's always good to make mistakes on my own items than somebody else's, so that's why I like to set aside that time. So we'll be back more with some updates once I get back on track. Alright, so it's the next day and I decided I really gotta get these cuffs going, really get this worked on, because I really want to get back to finishing her up and everything. So, as you can see, I took some Met A's Fix It, which is kind of better for like hair and stuff like this. I rolled it out, let it harden a while, and I cut out some pieces and I started bending it around. And as you can kind of see, it's kind of building out the cuff. And once it hardens, I could build out the jacket going around, and then I could start doing some wrinkles on the jacket. This hand's up in the air, so the cuffs I'm having to design like it's falling downwards. And the cuff over here, since her arm is kind of bent and it's kind of this way, the cuff pieces are coming down that way. So that's kind of like what I came up with. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. And we'll come back more once this hardens up and I can start sculpting more onto it, and then we can finish painting her. Okay, so the other night after I showed off the video, once that cuffs were all done, it was a couple late nights this past week, and I just got done with a lot of projects. Everything was sitting and drying, so I just wanted to get my own thing done late at night. I just didn't feel like going to sleep too early, so I just stayed up kind of late working on some stuff. So this is what I came up with. I masked off the head and everything, and I started doing all the bunches around the jacket and everything, because this arm's in the air and this arm's kind of pulling back. I didn't want to go too like roughly like they have in the comic. I wanted to give it a little bit of tautness in the bicep. So what I did is I made this bicep like left to here, but I did the crunchiness and everything on the back of the arm. And since this arm's pulling back, I did the crunchiness here and here, but I left the bicep because I wanted a little bit of tightness on her arm. I thought that would be kind of a little bit better for this custom. And of course I did the skin tones too, because I wanted to get everything matched up. But we'll get in a little bit closer and I'll show you what I do with all the cuffs. So the only problem with this statue is that, you know, we got these, you know, gloves sticking out and these sticking out, the bolts on the thing. So it's kind of very difficult with the statue to kind of move it around without snapping or breaking anything. So it's one of those things, you got to be careful. But, you know, it's my personal item, so it's kind of fun. So you can see back here, it's all ruffled up and bunchy and stuff back here. And then the same thing with this arm over here. So I did the, you know, the jacket's kind of like getting taut around there. And I wanted to follow the comic book as best as possible, so I followed the cuffs, as we can see. So, you know, the way they had it drawn was the cuffs are flipped over. We had this little, like, loop piece here, and then it's all roughly. So, I did the skin tones kind of dark in there, kind of like where the elbow would be type thing. So the next step is, what's easier, since I'm on the skin tone phase, what I'll do is, because the jacket's like a blackish, really dark black with kind of hints of red, and I want to follow it as much as possible, I'm going to actually paint with a paintbrush the black going around in there, and the same thing on the other cuff over in there. Because it's easier to make a mistake while I'm on this point than to actually paint her all up, then paint that little part there, and then if you mess up on the skin tone, you got to touch up the skin tone. So it's always easier to do these little pieces underneath here and here over there first, and then work out the body, because it's just the way I like to work. I don't know what other people do, but it's just kind of, just got to kind of plan out the whole entire process of doing stuff. So I think once I get that done, after I was working on this red, I decided what I'll do is I'll do the yellow first, and then I'll go back and do the red, because then I can mask all that off. It'll be easier to get the yellow on her and then do the red. But that's where I'm at. I'm happy the way the jacket worked out. I can't believe I completely forgot about it, but in the end result, I'm having fun with it. So that's where we're at, and we'll be back with some more updates.